Did you know that small acts can have big impacts? Let's talk more about it.
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Mrs. A, and when we spend some time together, I often like to start us off with a feelings check-in or a zones of regulation check-in. And I think it's important that we all take some time throughout the day to listen to our body, to check in with ourselves, and to figure out how we're feeling. It's also good to practice communicating those feelings or sharing them with the people around us. For example, I'm feeling a little bit disappointed or discouraged because I'm not feeling very well today. There were things that I was hoping and planning on doing that I wasn't able to do, so I feel a little sad and disappointed I couldn't do them. How are you feeling right now? Will you take a peek at this poster I've made? I'll bring it up so it's nice and large and you can see all the different types of faces and expressions they're making, all the different emotions or feelings they're showing. And I'd like you to try to find the one that matches how you are feeling right now. Maybe you're feeling like me, feeling disappointed or discouraged about something. Maybe you're feeling differently. Maybe feeling excited or curious. Maybe confused, or maybe you're just really angry. There are so many different feelings that we feel throughout the day and throughout our times as humans. And so it's important that we practice identifying those feelings and sharing them with the people around us. But more importantly, it's important that we practice sharing them out loud with ourselves. When we say the name of our feeling, it can actually help us shift how we feel. For example, just saying that I felt discouraged or disappointed made me start to feel a little less discouraged and disappointed. It's kind of strange to hear, but it's almost a little magical when we name our feelings. Sometimes they can help us shift them if they are not comfortable feelings or feelings that we want to keep feeling for a long time. So go ahead and look closely at that poster. I'll give you a little bit of time to identify your feeling. You can point to it, you can say it, you can describe it. If you're stumped on the word underneath, you can ask a grown-up or someone nearby if they can help. Did you find your feeling? Awesome. Will you say it out loud? Oh, thanks so much. Thanks for practicing listening to your body and figuring out your feeling with me. You can do that anytime by grabbing my poster here when you become a Patreon. When you support me through Patreon for even just $1 a month, you get this poster as a free download. So thanks to all my friends who have done that already, and thank you if you're going to do it now. If you are not interested in becoming a patron or supporting me with any of your money, that's totally fine. Another small way you can support me is hitting the like and subscribe button. That is really encouraging and really shows me that you care about the videos and the lessons I'm sharing with you. Now, another thing I like to share with you is some different date exercises. And maybe you've been with me before. You know that I like to check the date to help me, A, figure out what day it is, B, get inspired to work out and move my body at least a little bit each day. It's really helpful for us all to move our bodies, to build our muscles, to really get out of our heads sometime and just get into an exercise or an activity that involves our body. And so our date today is 2/23/22. And maybe you're watching this on a different day. That's okay too. The date is represented by these numbers here, and yours might be a little different. For example, right now it is the second month for me, and that means it's February. It's the 23rd day, so I have 23. and it's the year 2022. I bet that's probably still the same for you. As we do our exercises, if you need to do more and change the numbers to match your date or less, that's totally fine. But before we get started, let's check in with Fig. Fig is showing us one of the moves we're going to do. It looks like they're using their whole body. We see their legs are spread wide, their hands are up over their head, spread wide as well. Can you make some observations? Look closely and see if you can figure out what move they're showing us. Maybe you've done these before. Well, we'll check back in with Fig soon. But to start us off, I thought we could do 2 push-ups. Now sometimes we do wall push-ups or backwards push-ups. Sometimes we just do regular old push-ups. Whatever is best for your body or your space. For me, it's best to do standing wall push-ups, so that's what I'm going to do. You can get in a position that works well for you, and we'll get started. We're going to count by 2 because our number is even. We've been practicing counting by 2s. Numbers start. Ready? 2. I like doing push-ups because they involve my whole body, but they extra work out my arm muscles. And sometimes it's really difficult for me to work out and build those arm muscles, so push-ups are a really great challenge. The next thing you're going to do is 23 runs in place. So if you're able to stand, you can get up. And we're going to run for the count of 23. We'll count by 1s this time because 23 is an odd number. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Wow. That was really great running. My heart is beating so quickly, and we still have another move to do. Fig, what should we do 22 of? Jumping jacks. Oh, great. Jumping jacks are another great exercise. If you're able to stand up, you can spread out your arms and legs, and we'll get started. We're going to count by 2s since 22 is an even number. Let's do it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Wow, wonderful work. You may already know that after any exercise, it's really helpful for our brains and bodies to cool back down. So you can listen for a bell. When you hear it ring, take a big belly breath in and slowly let it out. Let's breathe together. Wonderful. Thank you so much for moving your body, building your muscles, and taking some breaths with me today. Now, friends, I am so excited to continue to talk about Black History Month with you, and our focus today is all about kindness. Kindness to ourselves, kindness to our communities, and kindness to our earth. And I have some really special people to share with you today in the forms of books and videos. But before we get started, let's check out my message so I can tell you a little bit more about what I mean. Now, in my messages, I often hide alliterations or onomatopoeias. And alliterations, you may already know, are words that are next to each other or nearby that start with the same letter or sound, like buzzing bugs. And onomatopoeias are sound words, like buzz. And so if you look carefully in my message each time you visit, you'll be able to spot some of them. It's a great way to practice identifying different letters or sounds. It's a great way to discover new words and practice your reading. And it's really fun just to challenge your brain to think slightly differently than you usually do. So be on the lookout for those. Dear caring, kind kids. Have you ever heard of Archbishop Desmond Tutu? He was an amazingly kind and wise man who said that we should do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. What do you think of this quote? When I hear it, it reminds me that we all have the power to do great things, even if they seem small. Acts of kindness to ourselves, others, and the earth are so valuable, even if at the time they don't seem so big or important. Today, we're going to hear about some Black environmental activists who are doing or have done lots of little bits of good right where they are. Each of their small acts of good have had big impacts on the world. Woohoo! Love, Mrs. A. So at the beginning of this episode, I asked if you thought that small acts could have big impacts. And from reading this message, I've learned that yes, they can. And we're going to learn about how some small acts by these incredible and kind and creative people have had big impacts on our world. The first person we're going to talk about is one of my personal heroes. And her name is Wangari Maathai. And this is a book all about her. It is called Mama Miti, and that means Mother of Trees. And Wangari Maathai is considered the mother of trees in her home country of Kenya because she has done some incredible things in her life. In this book, Mama Miti is written by Donna Jo Napoli with illustrations by Kadir Nelson. And I am just in awe every time I flip through these pages because the illustrations are actually works of art. In the back of this book, it tells us that the artwork was made with oil paintings and printed fabric. And the reason that Kadir Nelson chose these materials is because they connected to the rich African culture of textiles and colors. And I just love looking at these beautiful works of art, as well as reading these wonderful words, because they make me feel like I'm visiting with Wangari Maathai in her home. They make me feel like I'm connected to her bright and vibrant culture and community. And so I really, really love this book. And I definitely recommend that you grab it from your library or your local bookstore. We'll start here and just look at a few pages together. On the highlands of Africa, near forests and plains and a huge salt lick, Wangari was born. The face of Mount Kenya smiled down on her. People told stories of how in the old days, sometimes the sun shone too bright, too long, and droughts came. Creatures suffered. Plants wilted. People fought. So the men held ceremonies under the mugumbo, the spreading sacred fig tree, and the skies blessed them with shimmering rains to slake their thirst and water their farms. Village elders placed staffs from the thingi tree between angry men, and enemies became friends. Wangari listened to these stories. That's how she came to love and respect trees. That's how she came to be wise in the tradition of her family and village, of her country and continent. I want you to look closely at this beautiful piece of art here. Do you see all the life in that little bit of water? One of the biggest impacts that Wangari had on her community and communities around Kenya is that she helped bring water back into their land. And she did that by sharing all of her knowledge, all that she had studied and learned about trees and ecosystems. And we'll see just a few examples of how she helped her neighbors, her community members. Another woman came to the wise Wangari, as poor as the first. This one traveled from the mountain in the south. Her daughters stood beside her, thin as ropes. My daughters and I walk for hours every day just to find firewood to cook with, said the poor woman. It takes so long. We have no time for anything else. What can I do? And so this story shares many examples of people visiting Wangari and asking her to help them with their unique problems in each of their own communities. And Wangari offers a lot of great ideas and support to all that ask of her. Wangari took the woman by the arms. "These arms are strong," she said. "Plant a tree. Here are seedlings of the mukindori. This tree makes good firewood. Plant as many as you can. Dayu Nayamba, peace, my people." And here you can see Kadir Nelson's version of Wangari Maathai. And I love it because just like all the pictures and videos I've seen of her, I see that she has this beautiful dark skin, and she often wore her hair in braids, and every time I've seen her, she's had bright, patterned, colorful clothes on. And so this just makes me feel like, wow, I'm right there with Wangari Maathai, one of my own personal heroes. It's pretty cool. And this whole book is filled with other cool examples of how she helped so many people in her country of Kenya and around the world learn about how to best take care of the land and help repair or restore their environment and their ecosystems so their land could thrive and that people could be living there comfortably and safely and even sometimes securely. It would help them be able to sell fruits or vegetables so they can make a living while caring for their land. This next book is about a man who is actually from the United States, and his name is Farmer Will Allen. And this book is all about him and a part of his life after a career in basketball, coming back to the United States and wanting to build a table, a growing table, to invite everyone in to make sure that they all had an abundance of really healthy, nutritious, good food. And so this book, Farmer Will Allen and the Growing Table, was written by Jacqueline Briggs Martin with illustrations by Eric Shabazz Larkin. And we'll look at just a few pages, but I love this one because it reminds me of all that we can do right here, right in our own backyards or our own neighborhoods. And it reminds me of a community garden that I'm a part of. And so I'm really excited to share some of this with you. When Will Allen was a boy, bowls of peas, greens, and his favorite, lima beans with ham, covered the kitchen table. "My mother often mixed enough food for 30, Will says. We never had a car or a TV, but we always had good food." He remembers people who'd come to dinner tired or drooped and leave laughing. Have you ever noticed what Will's describing? Have you ever maybe come to the dinner table tired or drooped or just not feeling great, but eating and being with the people you love ended up with laughter or feeling joy or love? Sharing meals can do that for a lot of us. A new kind of farm. When Will was done with basketball, he worked a white shirt job in Wisconsin and found time to grow vegetables on Cindy's parents' land. But Will wanted his own place. He'd seen that fresh vegetables were as scarce in the city as trout were in the desert. Will believed everyone everywhere had a right to good food. But how could Will farm in the middle of pavement and parking lots? One day, driving in Milwaukee, Will spotted 6 empty greenhouses on a plot of land about the size of a large supermarket. For sale! He could see kids who'd never eaten a ripe tomato, never crunched a raw green bean, sitting at his table, eating his vegetables. Will Allen bought that city lot. He was so eager to share all of those nutritious and important vegetables and fruits with his community members that he bought this lot of land and worked really hard to restore it to make sure that the soil was healthy and good for growing. We'll hear a little bit about that now. The dirty soil. Will had a start on his table. He had the land, but the table was empty. The problem was Will's soil, dirty with chemicals and pollution. He had no money for machines to dig out the bad soil and for truckloads to bring it in, So what to do? In Belgium, Will had learned to make good soil with food garbage. They called it composting. He needed lots of garbage. He asked his friends to save their food waste. Apple peels to old zucchinis. Have you ever heard of composting? Composting is when you take all of your food scraps, your fruits and vegetable peels, all of those extra chopped up parts that you didn't use in your recipe, and you put them in a big bin outside. You can put them in a big bin outside on their own and turn them every once in a while to let the air circulate through them and to let good bacteria and bugs help break it down into dirt. Or some people compost with worms. Worms are a really great way to help the food scraps turn into dirt more quickly and also feed the worms. And so composting is a really amazing way that you can turn soil that's maybe not good soil or clean soil or good for growing into soil that you can grow plants and fruits and vegetables in. And so that was one of the first steps that Will took once he bought his land. But this story goes on and is so inspiring. And like I said, makes me think about the community garden in my neighborhood. Maybe you have one too, but if you don't, it might inspire you to get one started. Another thing that might inspire you are these videos I'm about to share with you. Now, I'm actually just going to share one video with you, and it is by a woman named Alexis Nicole. And she is online and goes by the name The Black Forager, because she's a young Black woman who is helping to share her knowledge with people so they can forage or go out and look for food that is around them or nearby where they live. And they can live off the land in a way that's free or inexpensive, really environmentally friendly, and seasonally delicious. Different things grow at different times. And so if you are a forager or you look for food on the land in the neighborhoods that you live in, you'll get to taste different things throughout the year and experience different foods and fruits and vegetables that maybe you haven't even tried before, even though they're growing right on your front lawn or right down your street. And so I'm going to share just one of Nicole's videos with you. And I think it's a really great introduction to foraging because it uses something that's really common where I am in the winter and may be common for you too. But it's something that doesn't necessarily grow, just happens with certain weather. And so I'm excited to share this video with you.
Free snow cone time! Yeah! But well, let's jump back in time and make our syrup first. We have some simple syrup going, and it's simple because it can't do algebra. No, it's not. It's simple because it's easy. It's equal parts sugar and water. If you can't do algebra, that's okay. But now we need something for flavor. To the freezer! Fruit bat! These are Cornelian cherries and plums I gathered in Maine, and usually Cornelian cherries, even though they're not real cherries, taste like cherries, but these taste like peaches. Aren't they like little jewels? This brings back so many good memories of foraging with my friend Rachel. Ooh, we're syruping. My kitchen smells like cherries and peaches. Time to strain. Okay, I'm bundled up and ready to make snow cones. Snow. And add some syrup. Yeah. Let's try some. It's like a tart little sorbet, but a lot lighter. I can't wait to see what syrup flavors you come up with for yours.
Now, it's easy to see why I am such a big fan of Alexis Nicole. She is so knowledgeable. She knows so much about food and fruits and vegetables and plants. She is so funny and engaging, and every time I watch her videos, I am giggling or smiling, and I always learn something new. And so if you are curious at all about foraging and finding food where you are, or you're just curious to learn more and you just want to know, what is that thing growing in my yard? Definitely check her out. You can find her on TikTok, on Instagram. She also has a bunch of articles out on different news channels. And Alexis Nicole is such an inspiration to me as somebody who's curious about growing food and sharing food with others. But I also wanted to have her inspire us in our mindful moment today. And so because she made a snow cone with foraged fruits and snow from her yard, I thought we could do a snowflake breath for our mindful moment activity together. And it's really simple. We can do it sitting or standing. And all we need to do is close our eyes or look down, and we'll use our body to make a big snow cloud So stretch our arms up and wide as we breathe in. And then we'll let our snowflakes fall and our hands will drift down to our sides as we breathe out. Now we'll do this 3 times. So take some big breaths and slowly make some snow fall with me today. Ready? How did you feel while taking that mindful moment? What did you notice? Yeah, me too. I was imagining a big snow cloud and a blizzard. What else did you notice or feel? Oh, cool. Yeah, me too. It started to feel a little chilly with all that snow. Yeah, I was also, once we finished, really excited to go try to make my own snow cones with some simple syrup from my own yard. And I may not have snow right now, but winter is still here for me in my area, and so I may get some snow yet. If you get some snow and you try this out, please let me know. You can always email me your messages or send me pictures of things that you try out. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed learning about all of these incredibly kind and creative activists, and I can't wait to see you next time.